It's Roger once again, Mudfossil University, going into dragon details, and I mean details. I think I have found all the things that they claim to have been looking for to prove the existence of a dragon. And all of the things that they said about dragon wings and all the things this kind of stuff right here, which they say they spit out something that sets things on fire or causes havoc in a number of ways. And that is, we're exactly 1 mile above looking down at this stuff. Now, let's come up higher and higher and higher off the surface of the Earth. Now we are at 12.5 miles up looking down. Now, right here is where that stuff that we just saw combusts with this stuff here that is on a giant fish. I know this sounds insane. I do not dispute that at all. But what it is what it is. I cannot change what it is. So here's what it is. And these things have been written about. So don't just start laughing, oh, the guy's crazy. Well, I might be crazy, but that has nothing to do with this. All right, you see all these little things, boom, 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 those are the fish scales. That's his fin. If you come under the bottom, you'll see they have more fish fins like they do. And then that's a fish tail, which all fishes have, well, not all of them, but I imagine, but most of them have tails like that. And they come around like, here, see, whoops, come back up here, you little fishy. Comes around like this, comes back up, and there's his head. Now, that stuff that was being spit at him and is eroding and killing him and eating into his flesh like it was acid, because apparently it is some form of a nasty stuff. And we can follow it back just where I told you where it came from. Look at that, boom, 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 all over this guy. And it came right from this guy's mouth. And that's a dragon. Now, so that was all this stuff coming out from his mouth. Now, I traced it down his throat to where the source of it is, and I think I found it. Now, you can see there's his dragon head, and there's the little fluty stuff on dragons. You see it all down here. And there's his flary eye. You know, I have that red burning eye, and it trails back. And that's all the parts of his head, and that's the kind of nose they have that sticks up in the air there. And now, let's look at his dragon throat here. All right, so here's the throat where all that stuff comes out of. And you can clearly see it's a throat, and it goes down here, and there's dragon scales on both sides. Now, and it is recently, well, it's on the surface, let me put it that way, and it's, all I can say is it's on the surface, so it's apparently recently deposited there. It's not like buried deep, deep, deep or anything, it's on top. So that's what we got. Now, there's this, again, there is the throat, and we're going to follow it. It goes and goes and goes and goes. Now, this is all that flary stuff you see on the side of dragons. That's all I can say is what it is what it was. This is not something they made up silly and everybody around the world did it. No, these things were real. That's all I can say. And if you could dispute what you see, well, then dispute it. That's all I can say. But if you could say that that is unlikely a dragon scaled throat, I don't know where, what a dragon scaled throat would look like. They look like dragon scales to me. And it is a throat. It goes down and it goes down and it goes down and all the way down. Now, let's follow this down because it gets interesting down at a certain point. Let me come away from here because it goes a long way. Zoom way, way, way down here. Now, it comes way down here and, it's all the same structure. You see it? Now, down here is where that stuff, that green stuff came from, I believe. There's two diversions here. One comes down this way, and one goes over here into what I think is the stomach right here. Now, the one that comes down this way leads to that green stuff. Now, it's either this has something to do with it, or this part here. See, there's the stuff that I think he spits at people. All right, because that's what the color it was. It was green like that, remember? This is pretty serious looking stuff. Now, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if I'd want to get it on top of me or anywhere around me, to be honest with you. But you can still see this is all. These are the colors of transition metals in blood and in the different minerals. I mean, it's you know, you're looking at what I'm looking at now. You see down here, look, the same stuff coming from down here. That is identical. That is the same stuff. That is the same stuff. All right, let's go back and look at where it came out of his mouth. Do you see that color? This guy is huge. He covers all of Morocco, all the way up to the Mediterranean Sea. Now, all right, you see coming out of his throat here? There's his head again, remember? There's his head, there's his throat. There's this fluty little dragon stuff. Now, where it came out down here, let's go in and look at that. Remember I said it was nasty looking? Well, it's nasty looking. That is the same thing we just saw coming out of his stomach. To me, that is. All right, so, and he spit it all over that thing, the fish, to try to kill him. And that was recorded. It said he attacked the fish's fin with power, and that looks like power to me. So here's this one that comes way down here and goes into that green stuff. Now, whether it mixes with this to do something to combust it, maybe he can shoot out just the green stuff to burn him up the flesh, and this here he wants to throw a little fire in there. I don't know. I just don't know. But I'll tell you something, it is bizarre. So anyway, and then the other one over here, coming up over the top, it comes down over here, and then just sort of goes into the stomach. I think is the stomach, I don't know. But it looks like maybe he ate something, and this is it. I don't know. I have no idea. But he would have a pretty good sized stomach, and it is good size. You see, it comes down this whole thing. Anyway, now, so in my mind, could be wrong, but in my mind, I think I showed that they do spit stuff out. It looks very, very bad. Very bad. It causes a lot of damage. Whether it had burnt it up in flames, I have no idea, but I can see it more or less combusted somehow. It impacted the fish's fin with power, let's put it that way, which was written. Now, so we got the fish, we got the dragon, we got the spitting the stuff out, we've got the throat that goes down to where it came from, and I think I showed that looks like the same stuff to me. Now, maybe you don't see the same stuff I see, but I see that what I see, and you can see whatever you see, and that's fine. Now, and I think I showed his throat as a throat, and I showed dragon scales were dragon scales. And I believe this is his body. Now let's continue on, because I said this is going to be details, and it might take a little while to do this, but that's just what it's going to have to be. There's his head. Okay, here it comes down. I showed you all his abdominal cavity stuff, which is, that's what I'm saying. Now, he's got to have some legs, I would assume, and I believe these are his legs. All right. Now, he's also got a huge long dragon tail, which I've shown that many times. So let's go to the very end of his dragon tail, because otherwise we'll be here all day. And this is a good shot because it shows the dragon scales, and it's coming towards the end of his tail. Now, there's all kinds of flippy looking things at the end too. There's not, he has that little, see all these little fluty looking things that a dragon has at the end of its tail, and they got all kind of crazy. Look at that. I mean that's it. This thing's a dragon. There is just no other way to get around this. All right, and they have all that fluty looking stuff coming out of their dragon tails, flashy looking things. Now, but this is somewhere towards the main structure of his dragon scale tail. Again, transition metals. Anybody that understands the nature of transition metals and the colors that they present understands this. And anybody that knows dragon tails, or even has a clue of what a dragon tail might look like, is going to say that's probably a dragon tail, since it seems to be attached to the rest of a gigantic dragon. But you got to let your head get around this. It's very, very, take your time. Now, additionally, what do we see? What is all this red stuff around here? Well, in the biblical text, it says that it was a giant red dragon. Well, I don't know. I see red. I say that's blood. But was it red on the surface as well? Was it a red guy? Or, normally? I mean, it's pretty red. No. But blood yeah, it's more red than it is blood, I would say. That is more of a red, where blood is more of this red here, over here. You see this kind of the red and the black here. And this is what you're going to see in this kind of red over here. This is more, to me, this is more blood. Now, what I mean by blood is the reddish and the black and the rusty colors. That is the color of arterial blood is red blood, and the blue blood that's in bodies normally is the vein blood. Now, because it turns black, the normal vein blood that's in creatures turns black when it hits the oxygen, because it's just way more oxygen apparently. That's my take. Now, this area here that is a leech field around this decaying dragon, and it is not far from the decaying dragon's fleshy, scaled body. This is where the really gooey stuff drains off. That's like decomposition draining. This is more of like this is probably came from this creature, so it's not that this was here and he's laid on top of it. I don't think. But this is more where it's sort of decaying. But it's not much decay. There's his throat right here. It's only right there. It's just, I mean, you're talking almost nothing. And that is the color of blood. I'm sure everybody that does the mud fossils understands that's what happens when blood leaches from something. And you can see it's draining out here all over. See? I see it's draining. Now, so we got a big creature that is here on top of the surface, leaching its decomposition all over. On its head, on the back here, there's snakes' heads too. There's snakes' heads up here. We found those. My buddy Pete found one, but they're all over the place. It's just crazy things. And they were the things that were recorded. So I'm not making it up, and it is here. So now when I said, well, what else is a good thing going to have? They said they had wings. Well, maybe they have wings. So where would the wings be? Well, they would be hanging back here somewhere. So I decided, well, let me look for where they might be hanging. They'd have to have huge wings, obviously, big creature. Now, maybe these are the wings. Let's go down and look and see if we can see any wingy-looking things. And that's kind of strange-looking patterns. And that's a very interesting looking texture. I wouldn't consider that to be like your normal sand dunes. But let's look a little more, because I did find some other places that were extremely interesting looking, which indicated to me these were wings. Now, where are we here? Let's go down over in here. You see this? This is, they have these come down in blocks, is why you see it this way. But it's this is the area that I believe shows that this is not normal looking sand dunes. I believe this is some kind of dragon skin wings. And they are, and I have found actually claws in here. There's actually like a talon-looking claws here and there, or at least one I found very specific. But this whole area here is that kind of pattern. You see that? Now, if you could tell me that that is normal sand dunes, well, good, that's good. Maybe it is. But I see it differently. I see this in this area, in this pattern, to be much more than sand dunes. Much, much more than sand dunes. And when you get in very close to it, you see exactly what skin is. So I'm going now with the fact that we have skin here in a pattern that's a pattern of skin to me. You know, maybe you see it differently, but I don't. Now, so what can I say about that? I think he had wings. I think he had wings. Just, and they always said they had wings. You see that? That's the same stuff, same sort of stuff. So those are pretty big wings. It's a big creature. But that's the same sort of pattern. So I'm going with that he spits stuff out. I wonder if it's all the way down here. I don't think so. It couldn't be going all the way down here, could it? Oh, I don't know what's going on with that. I tell you, the world is just a very, very, very strange place. Look at that. What is that? What is that? Look at that. Well, anyway, I don't know what that is, but it's interesting, and it is in the vicinity of our friend here, the big dragon. Well, I don't know how friendly he is, but he's a big dragon. I got to go with wings on that. I got to go with wings on that. There's just too much here. Now, they're huge, though. I mean, but the thing is huge. That could go all the way down there. I have no clue. But I think I've shown enough here to make a strong case for the fact that this is a dragon. And virtually everything they said about him is true. Virtually everything they said about dragons is true. So I don't know what else I can say about this, other than, you know, I think people should come in and look and check it out. I think it's dragon wings that flopped over here and they eroded over the top of his legs. And I bet you this is dragon wing material over here too, or something very strange. I mean, that's not your normal average thing. So, I mean, look at that. Look at that. The whole thing is just very, very strange. So, that's all I can say, and I think that's the details of the dragon. There's not much else to discuss. I mean, it's you can't deny it. I can't deny that. Nobody could deny that. And then, of course, we also know about Atlantis being over here. I might as well go into that now, too. Here's Atlantis right here. And the Straits broke, which was right over here. You see that? That was the Straits. It wasn't the Straits of Hercules. This is the Straits. This is the Straits of Atlantis. The Straits of Hercules came much later. Anyway, this collapsed and drained across, well, Atlantis collapsed, and all this drained out. You can see it's obviously drained out, and this is all written about too. This is all written about. It all fell. More mud moved than will ever be spoken of again, Plato said, which it did. It drained the Sahara, which was an ocean. They know it was an ocean. It created the Cape Verde Islands. It created this huge swath of sediments, which they now know is true, but the experts claim that it was an offshore collapse that caused it. They can't see this. I can't imagine. Nobody can see that. It's drained out of here. It's just obvious. Now, and what does that have to do with anything? Well, it has to do with what was drained off of here. What drained off of here was the stuff from our dragon and the fish. So I'm looking at, thinking, what else can I prove here? Can I find any organs? And I'm thinking, well, maybe I can find the kidneys. And one of the things about the kidneys is they have a bile duct area that turns green, and this strange looking color green. You see it right here? So I see that, and I say, whoa, that could very well be it. So now, what that is this is what's called natrium. It's a highly salty. It desiccates everything. They used it in the ancient times to mummify. So I look. Normally, the kidneys are going to leak into that. So I look back and I say, okay, let's see if I can find the kidneys. What is leaking into there? I can see something's leaking in. So what is it? So I go back and I look. Now I could see back here and I say, oh, there it is. It's all coming in. Yep, it's all coming in just the way it does. But why is this and why is this? These are two different substances. Now, in the normal kidneys, it's different. They're all one or the other. Now, but you can see it's all filtering down just as it normally would. So then I remember, well, birds don't have the same kind of excretory system as normal human beings. Like, this thing's got tail, wings, and all kinds of things, so maybe it's like a bird. So birds have what they call a cloaca, where everything mixes together and it turns this whitish, blackish looking mix. All right, now, so I follow this down, where this all leaks out down into this area here, where it turns all different down here. It's all kind of different looking mix to it. And this was highly populated in here. So this was probably fecal matter. You see, did you see all the population down here? Look at this. They're growing everything down here because that's where it grows, in the fecal matter. This is bird guano. And here is the cloaca. And here it is squirting out of the cloaca after it died. That happens, it just happens. And there it is. There's the creature. There's the cloaca squirting it out. And here's his head, comes down, and there's the natrium right there. You see? Here's everything coming down into it, which is from the, digestive system and all this. See, everything leaks down, see it leaking down, leaking down, leaking down, all collecting here in this one spot. And what is it doing there? It's going to process it and get it ready to get rid of it, and it extracts all the water. It uses this stuff, this natrium, I'm sorry. But you can see it all leaking in here, all this nasty stuff from the digestive system, and then it somehow handles it. It's different than a human being. But anyway, it ends up getting down here in this bird guano. Bird guano is one of the most highly sought after fertilizers there is. Look at how much agriculture is going on down here. Very fertile looking. So there's another thing that says, okay, this was a creature, and that was the excretory system. I mean, I'm looking for every detail I can find, and there's so much more that I see it, and I just don't have time to dig in deeper. And there's so much more to this creature, and there's so much more to everything. So I guess I'll leave it at that. But anyway, go to Mudfossil University, the Citadel of Truth, a veritable intellectual oasis in a desert of deprived delusion.